Welcome to the tutorial video for the Flexcrete theme for Concrete5. This theme is responsive and is built on the skeleton framework. And as you can see, this new version 3, has a much improved look and feel to it. One of the new features it has is this drop-down menu. The old version, version 2.2 and older, does not have this. It just has the top-level pages on here. But this one now has support for up to 2 sub-pages. Now as I add new features and options, I'll be adding an option to customize how many levels you can show on here. And another thing that this has is that there's a sticky footer, which this bar down here will always be visible as you scroll down the page. And there's quite a bit of flexibility on here. You'll be able to turn off and on some of these sections, like the nav bar area up here. This breadcrumb navigation bar here, you can be able to turn that off and on globally. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. It also has built-in support for system pages such as the login page. This is what it looks like by default. And this is your login page. Now, if you want to add support, now out of the box, this will not automatically activate this. So how to do that for developers, in the package controller for Flexcrete here, in your controller, you're gonna there's a way to do that upon installation. Now in the code here at the bottom here, you'll see that I have commented out these lines here, so that if you want to have upon installation, if you want to have it override and use the Flexcrete theme by default for the login page, page not found, or the page forbidden, you can do that. All you have to do is uncomment these last 4 lines here, and you're all set, and it'll automatically do that. Now, for sake of this demo, I went ahead and did that, so it's already showing these using the Flexcrete theme by default for the login page. And also, here's what let's go to a fake page that doesn't exist on this demo site that I set up. Okay, so here's what the 404 error page looks like by default. And now Flexcrete allows you actually to go and edit these pages too. So you can go and edit these just like you would any other page. So that's a 404 example, and the 403 looks exactly like this. It just says 403, page forbidden. So that's the only difference there. And again, now like I said, this is responsive, so which means it will fit on any size device. So this is the full width by default, which is 960. So as we scale this down here, as you can see, that menu turns into a drop down, so it shows all the pages that are in that menu. And again, I'll be making improvements to this, especially as I get feedback. And it goes all the way down to a small tablet device, which is roughly what it would look like on a smartphone. Now, another cool thing is that this allows a whole lot of flexibility for layouts. So let's go ahead and sign in. And now when we sign in here, we can see that there's some support here. This takes us to the home page by default. But this in your sticky footer bar here, which is this area here, this is always visible, and this is going to be enabled by default on your theme. And this will show up on every page on your site, except for two. There are 2 page types where it does not do that. Where it is not on there, and I'll show you that in a minute. Let's go to the Flexcrete theme or page here, and this is our default layout, which is a right sidebar, which is the same as any other theme. So this is what it'll look like essentially by default when you first install Concrete or first install Flexcrete and activate it as a theme. Now, if you want to customize the colors, there's a lot of flexibility there too. You can customize the color, the logo, or the text, links, and all that stuff. How to do that is you simply go to your dashboard, go to themes, and you're gonna go to Flexcrete here, and you'll see this button, customize. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of options here. You can customize all this stuff. Now, because it's responsive and this is set to fit in here, unfortunately you won't be able to see the changes on there, which is a bit of a drawback. So again, that's another bug I'm going to try and fix. Here as I work through the beta versions of Flexcrete 3. But you can change all of these different options here. And let's say we want to change the background color to maybe something a little more, maybe like a cream color, or maybe perhaps a gray. As you can see, that changes, it shows up right away. Now on your sidebar, here you can, there's different colors and for each of these levels and sections on here. So this is kind of what it looks like. So if you want to, especially if you're developing thing, you can clearly see the different areas on here. This is quite a bit of an improvement over the old version, because there was no padding, which is another problem that the old version has. This new one is quite a bit of an improvement, again, over the old one. Now, there's a lot of other settings you can change on here too. So if you want to change the settings on the actual theme itself, there's a Flexcrete comes with its own documentation page and a configuration page in the dashboard. So let's go there. This is what you'll see roughly when you first come in here. You'll see I'll have this video on here. And there's links to the marketplace page, forums, and roadmap. So if you want to post your ideas for improvements on the forums, go ahead and just link straight to that. Now here on the General tab, this allows us to enter a slogan on here, and then we can save that, and this will show up right underneath the logo on the page. So let's go back. And now, as you can see, we now have a logo on here, or not a logo, a slogan. And now, if we want, we can add a logo, like our own logo image to this. And here's how we do that. We're going to go into Edit mode, and then, as you can see, in Edit mode, this is a site-wide area, so you only have to do this one time for your whole theme. And so we're going to add to this, add block. And what you'll want to do is choose the image block, and then we're going to choose our image for the logo, and here's my logo. Choose that, and then if we want, we can link it to a page. So let's link it, let's say we want our image to link, say, to the home page by default. And we'll choose the home page, and we can add our own alt text. We'll just call it Flexcrete or something like that. And then you don't need to enter anything here if you don't want. We'll add the block. Now it will show the full. So this is a full-size image here, so it's going to show that by default. So what you want to do is click on the block, choose a template, and we're going to choose the Flex. It comes with the Flex logo template, and as you can see, it scales it to fit in there. And so there you go. You now have a logo. You can publish that, and we have ourselves a logo, and this will link to whatever page. So let's go to this page here, and as you can see, it links back to the home page. So it's very simple to do that, and as you saw, there's another area on here. You can add your own header content. Now you'll notice this is not site-wide by default. Now as we scroll down, there's another section here called to add, a featured area, so you can put maybe like a slideshow in there, or perhaps an image or whatever you want. And then down here you'll see that there's another footer area, which is local, just like the area up here in the header. Now this in here is always site-wide, so you can put whatever you put in here is going to always show up on all the pages that have the footer. Now here's where it gets interesting. You can customize the layout of this area here and the header up here. And here's how you do that. We'll exit edit mode here. We're going to go back to our configuration area for Flexcrete. We're going to configure this, and here's a number of other options here, by the way. As you can see here, we can show or hide the menu bar. So if we hide it, the menu, it will hide that menu area beneath the logo. If we were we could also hide the breadcrumb bar if we want to. All you have to do is just switch these over back and forth. You can change these whenever you want. Now globalization options here is, as you can see, these are local by default. So any content that you add to the header area or the footer, you can make it global if we want. So let's say we want to make this global. Got to save that. And we also want to make the footer global. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Let's say we want to be on this page to edit this page, and as you can see, it now is site-wide on both these areas. So you can make whatever content you put in here, you only have to edit it one time. So you can have it. So basically, you can have these areas, this area and this area, be either local or site-wide. So keep in mind when you apply that setting, it will apply to all pages on your entire site. So if you use a local setting, but then switch over to a global, it's going to override that. So so keep that in mind as well. Another setting here that is pretty handy is the layout options. For the header and footer, it comes with several options here. By default, it comes with the left sidebar, which is what you saw on there. The left sidebar for both the header and the footer. On the header, it comes with right sidebar, full width, 2 columns, or 3 column area. So let's say we want to switch that to, I don't know, 3 column. Save header. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so it still looks kind of the same there, but then when you go into edit mode, it now has a 3 column area on here, and it's also site-wide, since we set that to be a site-wide area. So let's go back here again, and you can do the same thing here. Now this comes with a couple. This comes with another additional option, 3 columns alternative, let's say, or even 4 columns. So maybe we can turn our footer area from a left sidebar into a 4 column area. Let's save that. Go back, show you what this looks like here. And as you can see, we now have a 4 column area. Now by default, Flexcrete uses a 960 grid, which is how wide this area is from here to here, roughly 960 pixels. So there's another cool option that I included where you can actually change that from a 960 to a 1200 pixel width if you want to make a nice wide website. So you go back here, and as you can see, it fills up the page a lot more now. And now, as you'll see, it also made the logo bigger because, again, it's responsive. It's set to be essentially fluid to fit in there. So so you can do that. So this, again, this has a lot of flexibility here. And then we've got a couple more options on the other. For sticky footer, you can enable or disable that. Now, again, as I add new options, you'll see new options added to this stuff. Now, on the 404 page, you can actually customize the default layout. You can have it be a left or right sidebar, and you can do that on both of these, depending on your layout preference. So, and now if you want to go and actually edit the page, here's a handy little quick link to do that. View page. Here's our 404 error page. Edit the page, and then as you can see, you can customize it just like you can any other thing, and this will show up by default on here. So again, very useful, handy thing to have on there as well. So again, this adds a lot of flexibility and a lot of customization options. So, and oh, by the way, there are two other page types. Now, if you use the home page type, there's these different layouts that you can choose from, and I'm going to add more as with new versions. So you might want to check back on what's new with each new release. So then there's another one called a blank page type, and that this comes with, and you can change the layouts for that as well. And left sidebar is almost always the default on most pages. So let's say we want to. So I'll show you what the blank page type looks like. So let's go to the Flexcrete here, and now let's in design we're going to switch this to a blank. And now what this does, again, as you saw, it uses the left sidebar layout. So this is customizable. You can change this. So if you were to change, say, to a full width or something, it would just show one full width area. Now, as you can see, this does not include the sticky bar or the header or the footer. Okay, this blank page type simply allows you to this is basically created as a way to have maybe Ajax content on your site, or perhaps you want to have a Facebook page. So basically the best uses of this is to use it for maybe if you want to load the content in this area on this page into an Ajax area on another page, if that makes sense. So so that's what the blank page type is intended for. And that's why it's called blank. So now there's another one on here, which this is another really cool feature that I thought would be useful. A single page type. So let's switch that over to here. Now this one is different, and this is by default a full width layout always, and I'll show you why here. Okay, so now what this comes with it comes with a page property called sections. Okay, so this page type comes hard-coded with it. So for the single page type, you can add your own sections that will be editable. So let's say we want to create a single page, like a microsite almost, website on here. So let's say our first section is typography or something like that, and then maybe our next one is portfolio, and then maybe we want to have a third section called contact, where we could maybe add a contact form or something like that. And then we're going to add that. So then what you want to do is go ahead and just you can either publish a page or refresh it, basically just so that this shows up. So as you can see, those sections were added. So now when you go back into edit mode, you see that it adds this menu area on here, where this basically just links you to this section. So So basically, depending on how long your page is, if you add a lot of content to this, it will make it so that this section, say you were to link to the contact page, this links to this, so these are essentially anchor links, is what this does. And then this is your main area up here is always on here by default, so that way it gives you something to add. So that's what this essentially does. And so that's a very flexible option there too. So you can have basically a full website, and then on this page here you can have like a longer page. So especially if you have a lot of content, like maybe something like this could be used for I don't know, maybe a frequently asked questions kind of a deal, where they link on, if they click on one of these, it takes them straight to that section. And another improvement I plan on adding to this is where there's some animation kind of a deal going on here, where like it uses an easing effect or something. So yeah, again, I'm open to your options on improvements. So whatever you come up with, I'm open to it, and if you could post that in the forums, that would be preferred, so I can reply back. And so that's essentially Flexcrete. A lot of the main improvements. There's also a new block that you can add as well, by the way. So let's say maybe let's go to the home page here, and this new block that it now includes. There's one called Flex Page Info, and it's a very simple block. If you want to display the page title, you can do that. Page description, date published, and the page author, basically who published that page. And as you can see here, you add that, and then you can move it around just like any other block. And so this shows like the date it was published on, who it was published by, and the description and the home page. So if you want to do that, you can do that. Again, that's another major difference between Flexcrete 3 and the older versions of Flexcrete. Flexcrete had it so that it was hard coded in, so you couldn't actually remove this if you wanted to. So this one, not only can you put it anywhere you want, you don't have to have it on here at all. So this allows you to do quite a bit more with that as well. So again, that's another nice option. I'll be adding more blocks in here, and by the way, there's a couple blocks that include custom templates. So you may want to check on some blocks that as I come out with new versions, there'll be new improvements, new custom templates, new options for making